Sam Leavitt's out 2 to 4 weeks. Jeff Sims is going to take over as the starter this week against Cincinnati. Uh-oh.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. And thanks to all of you for making us your first listen of the day and tuning in when we have emergency episodes like this. To stay in touch with the emergency episodes and with our everyday content, make sure that you hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting those shows. You can stay in touch by following me on Twitter at RichieBrats36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. We had some really unfortunate news break this morning, and even more unfortunate is I was at my day job in downtown Phoenix. So I just got home about 10 minutes ago. Otherwise, we would have gotten to this much sooner. The only plus to this is I've had a little bit of time to think about it and digest. So we'll at least have a little bit of substance to this conversation instead of, oh my God, the sky's falling kind of thing. Because it's very easy to say the sky is falling. Professor Barnsworth just walked in and he said, "Bad news, everyone." I can't do a Professor Barnsworth imitation worth a darn, but hopefully you guys at least know who I'm talking about. Sam Leavitt out 2 to 4 weeks for the Sun Devils with a rib injury. Yeah, if you watch the game against Utah, you know exactly what happened. He got cracked on a run. And here's the unfortunate thing. So many people all season long, the whole year, all I've heard, Sam Leavitt needs to learn how to get down. Sam Leavitt's taking too many hits and blah, 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 blah. Guess what? He had no chance to get down on this play. No chance. Because by the time that hit is delivered, Sam is in the middle of, a tackle. He can't just throw his legs up in the air and hope that he can cannonball down onto the turf. It's not how it works. Unfortunately, he just took a big hit. It was unavoidable. Is what it is. So hopefully I don't hear those comments because it's not true. Yeah, obviously that's something he's worked on throughout the year. We've seen it throughout the year as him being smarter about getting down and avoiding those big hits. This was not an avoidable big hit. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. Stuff happens. Guys get hit really hard. Guys suffer injuries. If guys are going to get injured, they're going to get injured. You can be as safe and proactive as you want. You can put guys in bubble wrap, whatever. At the end of the day, it just takes one hit, and that's exactly what happened. Sam Leavitt told us in the post-game press conference he was experiencing spasms, as he described it, after that hit, and it was hard for him to breathe. He ends up coming out for the second half of the game, playing pretty well when you consider the circumstances. We were pretty shocked to see Sam Leavitt back out there. I will tell you, there was a lot of conversations that I was having with people watching the game and people who were up in the press box with me, and it was like, yeah, he's done. He is done for the game. He got cracked. He might have broken ribs. Sounds like we avoided broken ribs. I didn't see anything too specific on the injury. All I saw is rib injury. So if there was something out there that I missed, let me know. But I checked from Michelle Gardner, I checked from ESPN, and I just couldn't find any really detailed answers about what the injury is outside of it's a rib injury. The question that we have, well, there's a handful of questions. Let's start with the first one. Jeff Sims is named your emergency starting quarterback. He is QB2 on the depth chart. He will be starting this weekend against Cincinnati. Now, Kenny Dillingham has talked this guy up and down and said he's a veteran. He came to Arizona State with the intention to start, not with the intention to be a backup and be a mentor and everything. He's been working hard in camp, and this is a quarterback that has every intention on playing at his absolute best potential. Here's your chance. Here's your chance, Jeff. It's It's do or die time. And for Jeff Sims, who has not had the best collegiate career, if we can just call it as it is, there's a lot of proving here to do. And the last time we saw him extensively on the field was a year ago in Nebraska. He completed under 60% of his passes for 6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown to 6 interceptions. That is not good. That is the last memory that we have of him. We have seen him in action twice this year, once against the blowout, or not against, once in the blowout against Wyoming in week 1, and this past weekend when he had to come in relief for Sam Leavitt. We've seen him throw the ball twice. He completed 1 pass for 13 yards, and then he missed the second pass. It was at the feet of the receiver. Not great, but I mean, at the end of the day, he hasn't thrown footballs this year. So hard to really blame the guy for not being in a rhythm. 4 carries, 17 yards. He scored a touchdown this past game. It's not impossible to win with Jeff Sims. And something that I've been texting my friends about and texting my colleagues about, I said, I'm not going to lie. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. You need to be 80-20 with the run game. Like full-on military academy, T formation, whatever you want to do, you need to be run heavy in this game. You have Cameron Scadaboo, who is going to be the offense once again, but even more so than in recent weeks, where at least Sam Leavitt could open up the passing game. And who knows, maybe Jeff Sims can. I don't want to completely write him off. What I'm saying is I don't trust him to be able to maintain the passing attack based off of the resume that we have seen from him at Georgia Tech and Nebraska. I don't trust him as a passer. I do believe that he is a good running quarterback, and I would love to see I would love to see ASU really get him involved as a runner. Again, I don't care. Triple option, typical read option, RPOs, T formation, wing formation. I don't care. Just run the football in this game. And that's going to be the easiest way to go about this. So our first question, I got 3 questions here. First question, can Jeff Sims do enough to win against Cincinnati? The answer is yes, he can. But this game went from being, I would call, a 70 to 80% win chance to about a 50-50. You're on the road. Cincinnati is not a bad football team. They are leaps and bounds ahead of where they were a year ago. They're 4-2. They are competing for a bowl game this year. That is a good program. This was never going to be walk in your trap, take your trap kind of game. I did have confidence that ASU would get the win. I still have confidence. It's just not going to be, quote unquote, as easy as what we might have hoped it would be. You can still win this game. Jeff Sims is a veteran. He's got tons of experience under his belt as a starter. He's attempted a lot of passes. Not the best, but he is also a very, very good runner. And that's where I want to see ASU use him the most. Use his legs to your advantage. He's averaging 4.2 yards per carry in his career, and he's been sacked 56 times over 4 years, like 3.5, because he wasn't even a full-time starter in Nebraska last year. 56 sacks. He is still averaging 4.2 yards per carry. Yeah, he is a good runner, if not a great runner. Get him and Scadaboo. Hopefully, Raleek Brown is healthy. Let's get to Carlos Brooks some more carries. Let's get Kyson Brown back on the field. Let's involve all of these very talented running backs and just kill them in the ground game. I have not had a chance to sit down and take a look at Cincinnati's run defense or anything, but I don't know how many run defenses are slowing down the Sun Devils this year, and this has to be a run-heavy game. I do not think that if you have to pass the ball in this game that you are going to win. I think that you can chalk that up as a loss at that point. I have 2 more questions that we're going to dive into in just a moment. We'll get there. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This special edition of Locked On Sun Devils is brought to you by Game Time and Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets even easier for your favorite live events, not just sports, even easier than before. Game Time Picks is going to filter out the fluff and show you only the incredible deals on great seats, and you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. Their curation makes it easier to save more on sports, on concerts, comedy, theater events, and more. Their all-in pricing feature, you're going to toggle it, and it's going to show you the total up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout this way. You get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know what to expect when you arrive. My favorite part about Game Time, their lowest price guarantee. If you somehow find tickets in the same section and row for less than what Game Time has, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. And of course, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time, people. I also want to talk to you about our friends over at FanDuel. NFL fans, NBA fans, NHL fans, college football fans, whatever you're a fan of, guess what? FanDuel is going to be your best friend. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. You can start off any of the seasons with big-time returns. You can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That can be anything. Money line, spread, prop bet, whatever you like. Place it down. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets. When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you're tuning into a football game, you say to yourself, I think I might know something. You can check out live stats and including a live play-by-play and so much more in the same place where you place your bets, and you can have the confidence that you're going to be making the right decision. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. I got 2 more questions on this show before we get out of here. Let's go to question number 2. Question number 2, what is a possible timeline for Sam Leavitt, and could he be back for Oklahoma State? So I'm not a doctor. Fun fact, I am not a doctor. I am not an MD. I am not somebody who pretends to be a Twitter doctor. And you know exactly who you are, Mr. I'm better than everybody. We all know who you are. I'm not a Twitter doctor. I'm not a doctor, period. You could give me Sam Leavitt's x-rays and CTs and blood tests and whatever. You can give me whatever you want with Sam Leavitt, and the best I could do is look at it and go, yeah, that's a x-ray. That's the best I can do. They are saying the timetable is 2 to 4 weeks. Here's what we have going for us. You are playing Cincinnati this week. He is missing the game. Next week is a bye week. Nothing's going on. If you were to have an injury like this is the best time to have it. Like, you couldn't have timed it better. And as dark as that sounds, it really was quote unquote good timing for this to happen. So then you're talking about in 3 weeks, you are on the road against Oklahoma State. He would be out for 2 weeks. He would be coming off a bye week. There is a chance that he could be good to go for Oklahoma State. I think the way that this game goes this weekend could also impact that decision. If ASU wins and they're 6-1, I don't know if Leavitt is going to feel like he needs to get back onto the field because ASU is bowl eligible. If you are 5-2, there might be a little bit of a panic meter, and Sam goes, I got to get back out there because we're right there to being able to go to a bowl game, and I give us the best chance to do that. I don't know. That may not be his mindset at all. Maybe he is truly focused on getting right, or maybe he's focused on getting back on the field as soon as possible. The bottom line, according to this time frame, 2 to 4 weeks, in theory, he could be back for Oklahoma State. We'll wait and see. My last question, should ASU be worried about the rest of their season? Ladies and gentlemen, now is not the time to hit the panic button for the rest of the season. You can hit it for this week. I might hit it for this week and go, I don't know, we may not win. This is a road game. You're going to the other side of the country. It's not a given. This might not be a win. You can hit the panic button for this week. You have to start Jeff Sims at quarterback. Like, I'm rooting for Sims. Don't get me wrong. This is not the Locked On ripping Jeff Sims apart podcast. Not at all. I'm rooting for success. Based off his track record, I don't feel good about it. We can just call it as it is, unfortunately. Hopefully he proves me wrong and he proves everybody else wrong. Also, if you follow, there is a Twitter account that like follows different threads from, I don't know if it's Reddit or just teams interacting with each other. So like there was a Sun Devil fan that basically put in a comment and he was like, do we have a chance to win this game? Like all we need is Jeff Sims to run the ball. He can do that, right? And some Nebraska fan commented and they were like, no, that's the thing. He can't even do that. And it's like, I really hope you're kidding, because that's the bare minimum that we need out of Jeff Sims in this game. I do not know the name of the account off the top of my head. I did retweet it. So if you're following me on Twitter, Richie Bradshaw 36, it will be there. You can find it. The season's not over. Might lose this game, drop to 5-2, go into your bye week, get healthy, and then you have a gauntlet to close the year. You got Oklahoma State, you got BYU, you got UCF, you've got Kansas State, and you got Arizona. 3 of those games are on the road. Not an easy slate. ASU can still do it. They're 1 game away from going to a bowl game. I would be stunned if they lost out on the year and finished the year 5-7. This team is going bowling. I said at the start of the year, they're a 7-5 football team. That feels like a worst case scenario right now for the Sun Devils. They're going to be fine. They're going to figure it out. They could still win this game. But again, if you want to push the panic button, you have every right to, because this is a game that makes me nervous. I imagine it's making a lot of people nervous as well. What do you guys think about this injury? Is the season over, or are you not worried about it? Are we still going to beat Cincinnati, or are we taking that L? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter as well at Richie Bradshaw 36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your podcast, though, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. We'll be back again tomorrow. We do not have a crossover Thursday episode, so we're taking a step back and we're going to ask ourselves, and the question changed a little bit. The answer changed a little bit with today's news. But the question is, can ASU compete for the Big 12 title? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So I'll see you there. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.